Okay, so besides taking up more space and smiling, there are 5 other ways that you can generate instant confidence whenever you need it. The third one is visualize. So visualize your day when you wake up in the morning as though it goes absolutely perfectly. Allow yourself to win even if it's just in your mind. So many of us are very trained to picture a realistic version of the future or to picture the things that go wrong. Now, from a navigational perspective, it's smart to anticipate negatives. Absolutely. It's smart to play scenarios forward and see what could happen if these things were done differently and to see a negative result before it happens. Fantastic. But be consciously aware of when you visualize forward into the future. Do you see a future that is destruction? When you think about you doing something that you're a little nervous about doing, do you visualize it ahead of time as a complete failure? Or do you visualize it as a complete home run, total success? And even just inside that one concept alone, there's a lot of interesting things to notice, not to judge, but just to notice. When I first started to visualize, I was uncomfortable visualizing a perfect outcome because even inside of just my imagination, it felt as though I was being too unrealistic or too grandiose in my belief of myself. There was some ego challenges attached to it. Well, I've worked through that, thank goodness. For me, that was an interesting understanding that even inside my own mind, the privacy of my own mind, where I am working to be able to visualize something turning out perfectly, that even inside of those controlled, that controlled environment, I still wouldn't let myself win in an insanely massive way. What was I gonna do in the real world of it all? Learning to be able to visualize and see an absolutely perfect day, to see the result turning out exactly as you want, is a discipline that will serve you incredibly well when you start to allow yourself to see yourself winning inside of your own head. So, for an immediate confidence injection, think about what it is that you're looking to accomplish. Think about the day that you're about to have. Picture it going even better than expected and having a fantastic evening to boot. And allow yourself to buy into the vision that you see. Be aware of whether or not you start to talk yourself out of it before it even happens. The next step is talk to yourself. So to generate instant confidence, you can say things to yourself that feed that belief. And the more you mean it, the more you're going to believe it and buy what it is that you're saying. I always had trouble with affirmations that weren't mine, that weren't written by me, because when I would say them, it felt as though I was saying something that was somebody else's voice. I didn't buy it myself. So my own affirmations, things that I say to myself, they're words that have come specifically from me, which makes it easy for me to buy into them because I can hear my own voice. And we believe what we believe. And we know what we believe. We can hear it. We catch ourselves if we ever try to lie to ourselves. We know like crazy. So when you talk to yourself, make sure that you're saying things that you believe. Now, this is about generating instant confidence. So keep it simple, because for some of us, if we're actually working on beliefs, which we're not going to get into in this video, it means that we've got to do some repeated things in order to actually construct new beliefs, which is not very difficult to do. Blew my mind when I learned that in my early 20s, changed my life, and now is something that is an incredible process and practice to be able to insert and use whenever it's needed, and to help other people do the same thing. But for instant confidence, when you talk to yourself, say certain things like, I am proud of what I've accomplished. I am proud of what I've survived. I am proud of the decisions that I made in order to support XYZ. I'm proud of who that girl is. I'm proud I didn't quit. I am not gonna give up. I am not gonna allow myself to quit on myself. If there's one person that I'm going to fight for, it's me. Say the things to you that make you feel empowered. I can. I can. I will. Talk to yourself. Write little messages down if it helps. Put them on your mirror so that you see them when you wake up. For me, I had to put it beside my alarm clock because before my eyes were even open for a few seconds in the morning, I was already hearing all of these negative voices. I used to save everything to my desktop, to my mind. So the second that my eyes popped open, all of my problems and things that I was dealing with, they would show up and sabotage my confidence for the day. In order to beat them, I learned to talk to myself and put tiny little messages that said sometimes things that were very forceful, like stop it, or whatever it was that I needed to hear. So again, it's important you do this in your own voice, but step number 4 to generating instant confidence is talk to yourself and tell yourself what you know you need to hear in order to be able to go and do what you got to do. The next step to generating instant confidence is look fantastic. We feel good when we look good, and you know that that's the truth. We don't take the time on most days in order to make sure that we feel really good about how we're put together. We are busy. We sometimes run out the door with our hair on fire trying to get everything accomplished. But when you need a confidence injection, look fantastic. Take the extra minutes that it would take to make the difference between turning down a social engagement because you don't feel you look good enough and saying yes to that social engagement. Leave the house in a saying yes to that social engagement kind of way. When you look fantastic, you are looking for places to go. You don't want to go home. You've got this great new hairdo and you've got nowhere to go. So you take yourself out for dinner if you have to in order to stay out. But you know I'm right. We all feel that way. And if you leave the house not feeling like you look great, and you get a text, and you get a phone call, and you get an invite, and there's a social invitation, do you say no and not go because you don't look great? And how many of us do that? And how many of us would love to be more socially active? How many of us would love to have more fun? How many of us would love to get out more often? Well, stack the deck in your favor. Look fantastic. And it doesn't mean to, have to be crazy pretty yourself up. It means exactly as you are right now. Look fantastic. Feel good. If there are things that you'd like to change in order to feel as though you really could look fantastic, well, that's something to work on over a long term. But right now, you know that you can absolutely look like the best version of you. You know you can. When you wake up in the morning, wake that girl up. The next step to generating instant confidence is to breathe. Now, that one also may sound a little bit counterintuitive. I remember the first time that I started to study breath work and its impact and influence over how we feel about ourselves. And for me, I did think that this was a little bit, it was probably on the stretching realm of woo-woo for me. However, I am an absolute subscriber to it and an advocate of it today without question. I had an incredible yoga teacher teach me bad yoga. That's the version of yoga that she teaches. She rocks. She's amazing. Her name is Diane Carlos. If you're ever looking for somebody to work with privately, one-on-one, as a yoga therapist, she is so much more than that. But that was where I had my first incredible experience with her as a phenomenal teacher. That she was teaching us that before you look at getting into depth as far as poses go, that the first thing that you have to be able to do is to ensure that you can breathe. If you're not breathing, if you're holding your breath while you are straining yourself to get into a pose, then you're already losing. You're doing it wrong. That there is nothing more important than being connected to your breath. It's your life force. So, without having to do any yoga poses in order to generate instant confidence, it's phenomenal what simply paying attention and tuning into your breath will do. So, together with me, we're going to inhale for 4 counts very deeply, very slowly, all together. Okay, so ready? And now exhale. And again. And exhale. It's amazing how different your energy is when you start to focus on the speed at which you are breathing and giving yourself a stage to tune in and feel if you feel connected or not. So, quick confidence injection, calm things down, take a minute, 60 seconds only. We just did it for 8 seconds. 60 seconds and breathe. Now, the last step when it comes to generating instant confidence is get outside. Get outside. Get outside when you need a break. For me, I like to insert get outside first thing in the morning. So now it's my choice to get up every single morning by 6 and I get outside. And I get outside while I breathe and I either get onto my paddle board and go out for a paddle on the lake, or I go out on my bike, or I hit a yoga class. But getting outside has a huge impact on how you feel. For many of us, and particularly for entrepreneurs who work at home, we can be surrounded by our space. We can be overwhelmed by all of the things that we have to do inside of that space. When you simply get out for a walk, and again, you know this is right, when you get out for a walk and you look around your neighborhood and you look at things that are new visual stimulation, you feel differently about yourself, right? We can self-sabotage when we sit at our desks, especially if we're not taking up space, right? If we're sitting at our desks and we're working and we're scrolling through documents or the feed or whatever it happens to be, to instead take up more space literally out of your environment and get outside, it reconnects you and regrounds you. Nature generally is happier than people are. You know, sadly, it's a huge opportunity to learn from the natural world how to spend more time being happy. So get outside is a great way to reframe what it is that you've been thinking when you're inside of an environment that has your mind and your sight lines restricted. It makes sure that you're not looking at anything that's on your to-do list. There's no messes for you to clean up. There's no project sitting in the corner looking at you that you haven't done yet. Get outside. Take a 10-minute break as many times as you need to, and feel how much clarity that allows to arrive for you because you gave yourself a quick break and you got to connect with some nature. So, the next video that comes, we're gonna talk more about confidence, as well as a few cool secrets when it comes to the most important things to think about when it comes to leading other people. If you know these 2 leadership truths above and beyond all else, you'll see instantly different results in the people that you're coaching, the people that work for you, the people you contract to. Whether you have your own team or not, you're still a leader. If you're looking to present ideas, if you're looking to make a contribution, you're still leading. I'm advocating for you to know what to do so that you don't screw it up. And at the beginning, I learned most of this stuff by messing it up on my own and making mistake after mistake after mistake. When I was a brand new leader, I was terrible at it. I didn't know what to do when I had to deal with a challenge or a problem. And a lot of the women that I experience, when we're talking about leadership, they have the exact same challenge that I had. I took one of 2 responses when I was dealing with a negative situation. At the beginning, I didn't deal with it. I was afraid that people either wouldn't like me or that I would handle it poorly, and I resisted conflict, so I didn't deal with it, which meant that the behavior would continue, and I wasn't managing the issues that needed to be managed and addressed. That's one way for sure to go out of business. Absolutely. To not address the challenges and the issues and to ensure that you're getting the deliverables done on time or within the expectations. So managing is unbelievably important as a leader. Then there's the other tactic that was the one that I tried next, which was being an absolute and total bitch, in order to let people know that they couldn't mess around anymore. And it was the polar opposite of what I had tried previously. Now, I did it very badly because I'm not good at being a bitch, which is a good thing. However, people didn't like to be spoken to that way, and it was far too extreme. And what it did was it persisted to make people then say, okay, I don't want to work with you. Well, there is a magic way to be able to manage change. There's a magic way to be able to manage a situation exactly like that. I'm going to go over that with you in the next video. Watch for it in your inbox. It's going to be there in a few days, or watch for it on the Facebook feed. It's going to be there in a few days. And we're going to cover the exact way to lead and succeed when you are dealing with negative challenges, and the step-by-step process that you can use every single time that will allow you to manage effectively and still not tolerate anything except for the best from the people that you work with. We'll see you next time.